Alright everyone, so we have another video here from Seth the Programmer, and we're going to be continuing with reacting to these series of videos that he's been putting out lately. And this one is called Goku versus Vegeta, The Honest Truth. Now, the whole debate of Goku versus Vegeta has been going on for a long time, like all the way back to when they first fought, which is, shown to us right here, back during the Saiyan Saga. And ever since then, Vegeta's obviously gained a lot of fans, and ever since this rivalry between the two has been established, a lot of people have been debating, which one is the stronger between the two. And there have been times where Vegeta has surpassed Goku in power, and of course there are times where Goku ends up surpassing Vegeta in power. And it's just been going on and on and on for years now, literally years, and it's still going even to this day. And I'm willing to bet that even right now, with the at least as of the recording of this video, with the end of the Granola the Survivor arc, with Goku and Vegeta and their new power-ups, a lot of people are going to be debating, well, who is the stronger between the two now? And I don't know if Seth's going to get into it in this video, but let's go ahead and watch this. But before we do, guys, as always, I will let you know, if you're new to the channel, you can find a link to this video as well as a link to Seth's channel in the description of this video. So make sure you check him out, head on over to his channel, subscribe to him if you haven't, make sure to watch his videos, comment, like, or maybe dislike if you didn't like it. All those things really help out videos with the algorithm. And maybe you could consider doing the same thing for my video and my channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Of course, big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I've been noticing that my subscribers have been, raising late. My subscriber count, excuse me, I can talk, has been raising lately. Again, I can talk, I promise. And of course, big thank you to all you guys who are subscribing to my channel and choosing to support me. I can't thank you guys enough. I hope you will continue to do that in the future. And if you're new and if you want to be updated, do what everyone else has been doing, which is hit the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell icon to be notified whenever I post a new video, because YouTube's notification system is apparently still a little iffy. So make sure to click on the bell icon and make sure to click on all notifications to be notified whenever I post a new video. And not just with me, but any other content creator you react to, or excuse me, any other content creator you're subscribed to, make sure you click on all notifications for them if you want to be notified whenever they post a new video. And also comment down below with your thoughts on what we see here, and if you have any recommendations you want me to watch, if there's any videos out there you want me to react to, give my thoughts on, just let me know about them in the comments and I will get to them. So with that said and out of the way, finally, let's get to the actual video.
Goku and Vegeta is one of those types of rivalries that, honestly speaking, the only types of dynamics that really surpass it are sort of things like God versus the devil. Like, in all actuality, when it comes to most fictional media, Goku versus Vegeta is that rivalry. It's that yin-yang. It is that duo. So when you compare it with any other series, even on Twitter or any social media, you see it, you're like, oh, who's better than Luffy and Zoro? Who's better than Naruto and Sasuke? Or who's better than these two? It's usually Goku and Vegeta. And even if you disagree somewhat, you got to admit, it's an extremely iconic duo.
It is.
Before we get into the video, I'd like to...
it's interesting when it comes to that whole debate about who's who's the strongest, or excuse me, who's better than, the rivalry between Goku and Vegeta. A lot of people, of course, would argue, he brought up Luffy and Zoro, Naruto and Sasuke. People might bring up right now Deku and Bakugo, although not really. I mean, the rivalry thing has sort of kind of gone away in recent chapters. And then of course you've got Gon and Killua. Technically, I guess they're not really rivals. I mean, they are friends and they do push each other, but I don't know, I never really got that rival feel from them, you know what I mean? I always felt like they were more so just really good friends. It's that duo that you're used to seeing in a lot of shonen series. And of course, from another work from Togashi, speaking of Hunter x Hunter, you've got Yusuke and some people might say Kuwabara, but I think a lot of people will instead pit him against Hiei, since a lot of people do kind of compare them to, like, Goku and Vegeta. Hiei even kind of like resembles Vegeta in a lot of ways, with the spiky hair and the fact that he's, a lot more serious than Yusuke. I'm sure there's others that I'm not really thinking about at the moment, but yeah, I feel like you know like that comparison will always be made when it comes to showing a series. Like every time you have that duo, they'll always be compared to Naruto and Sasuke, Goku and Vegeta, Luffy and Zoro, or Gon and Killua or whatever. It's always gonna happen. But I think whoever is the best, I feel like just depends on. It mostly depends on personal taste.
Proudly announce that this video has been sponsored by Warframe. Warframe is a cooperative, free-to-play online action game with more than 70 million players on multiple different platforms such as PC, Xbox Series X, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and more. And not only is this game, there's also a full-length Styanax anime short created by Passion Paris, so make sure to watch that too to get the full experience. And the game just released its 50th Warframe Styanax, a mythical javelin and shield-wearing warrior. And for a limited time only. This is limited, so get it now. Styanax will be available for free. $0. Use my link below in the description to download Warframe and log in to claim Styanax before the offer expires on September the 21st. Thank you for Warframe for making this video possible. And remember, free. And they go back really far. Now,
Oh, there you
throughout
go.
most of the series, it's very apparent that Goku has the advantage. Now, this is due to many reasons, but the main reason is that Goku's sense of nurture and nature are way more in line than Vegeta's. Goku has had a lot.
Well, there's that, and you could also, you also got to remember that he is the main character, and as typical in a lot of shonen series, the main character will always end up surpassing the rival character. That's just, I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, but that's usually the case in a lot of shonen series. The main character will always end up, being the strongest because they're usually the ones who end up being the ones to take out the main villain. So, yeah, I guess there's that.
A lot more masters and training and self-exploration than Vegeta has, and obviously he's going to be stronger throughout the series. However, whenever him and Goku actually do end up fighting, the results aren't so simple. And in fact, even though Goku has the advantage throughout usually 90% of the show, whenever they do fight, the results are never 90% in Goku's favor. And in fact, most people would argue that Vegeta seems to be the winner most of the time. So, for instance, even though Goku had all of this training leading up to the Saiyan Saga, he had all these masters. He's trained with Master Orochi, he trained with Korn, he trained with the Guardian of Earth, he's trained with basically the god of the North Quadrant of the universe, North Kai. He's learned the Kaioken, which can literally amplify all of his abilities. He's learned the Spirit Bomb, which lets him gather the energy of many other organisms, and including his friends, to use it as an attack. He trained on King Kai's planet, which is basically the equivalent of thousands of years of training in his own words. And he's also drinking the Ultra Divine Water, which essentially is a minor potential unlock, which sort of unleashed a lot of his Saiyan potential within him and allowed him to fight King Piccolo, which probably furthered his potential growth as well, as when we see people like Ultimate Gohan train in Super, when your potential is unleashed, you seem to get higher strength gains. And this is also shown with Krillin as well. When Krillin gets his potential unleashed on Namek, even though he's only a human, he goes from about a power level of 13,000 when fighting Goldo to 75,000 fighting second form Frieza, implying that he just sort of grew that much stronger just fighting, even though he's not a Saiyan. His biology doesn't just make him stronger like that. So that's a great example about how your potential being unleashed in really any way, even though, Elder Guru or whatever is nothing compared to the Elder Kai unleashing Gohan's, how it can increase it. So you can see that Goku had a lot of advantages going into their first battle against Vegeta, and yet Vegeta was still a lot stronger. Goku had a power level of around 8,000, and Vegeta had a power level of around 18,000. And then, of course, Goku, using Kaioken times 3, multiplying his power by 3 times, was able to beat around Vegeta. And even then, Vegeta was able to survive so long that Goku began to get worn down, and by the time they're having a Gallic Gun versus Kamehameha Beam struggle for the fate of the Earth, he was literally going to vaporize Earth to beat Goku, it seemed like Vegeta actually was holding his own against someone who should be a lot more powerful than him, and then Goku has to unleash a Kaioken times 4 Kamehameha, 32,000 power level versus a guy with a power level of 18,000 just to fend him off. And then when Vegeta gets launched back, and after this, Vegeta is arguing.
Sorry, I'll let it finish.
Still battle ready. In fact, he fights many Z fighters and still has energy to spare to become an Uzaru. But one thing that's interesting in that King Kai and Goku both note is that Goku, after this Kaioken times 4, his body is completely ripped apart, implying that Vegeta may have been able to just go down there and just keep fighting until Goku was worn down, because Goku really didn't have the endurance any longer to keep spamming Kaioken times 3 or 4, while Vegeta, while he was injured, it's really not so apparent how injured he was. And even then, when he does eventually use a power ball...
Yeah, so this is interesting because, excuse me, everything he said here is absolutely correct, and that's the thing that I always hold on, that I always think is really interesting, is that if you go back and you look at that fight, and everything he said here is excuse me, everything that he said here is actually 100% correct. Like, he if Vegeta had just gone down there and continued the fight, he would have won at the end of the day. Like, he really would have ended up winning, because I don't think he would have ended up giving Goku the chance he needed to create the Spirit Bomb. And I think that what's really interesting is that if you go back and you look at this fight, like, one of the biggest reasons why Vegeta lost is because he kept giving in to his pride. Like, the only reason why he went into, you know, his Uzaru form is because again, excuse me, sorry. The only reason why he went into his Uzaru form is because he wanted to completely dominate Goku, because he didn't want to believe that, you know, someone he considered to be a lower class warrior to be able to even put up a fight against him at all. And that's why I think that in the with the Gallic Gun Kamehameha Beam struggle, I don't believe that Vegeta put out his full power. I believe that if he did at that point, then even Goku with Kaioken times 4, I don't think he would have been able to push him back. I feel like it would have excuse me, it would have completely taken him over, and it would have killed him and gone on to destroy the planet, just like what Vegeta was planning to do from the beginning. And again, like, it's always interesting going back and looking at this fight, and you realize that, you know, there's a lot more to this fight than what's available on the surface. Like, you can see that, like, Toriyama put a lot more thought into this than I think people are willing to give him credit for.
Any longer.
All right, let's
technique that unfairly multiplies his power level that Vegeta doesn't have, as well as using techniques such as the Spirit Bomb, which allows him to gather energy from outside forces and influences to help him fight Vegeta. And Vegeta, all in all, I'm going to be straight up honest, if it was just 1v1, he would have beaten Goku in pretty much every single way.
I don't think anyone can really
the only way
debate
Goku
that. I mean, I think it's kind of
win
obvious.
Solar flaring base Vegeta, getting a Spirit Bomb ready, and then launching it at him. That's really the only conceivable way, but otherwise Vegeta kind of did beat him in their first battle. The next time they fight, it is Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta versus basically a angel undead Goku, who was brought back from the afterlife for a tournament in the Buu Saga in Super Saiyan 2 as well. Now, this Super Saiyan 2 basically dead body Goku basically has just the amount of same unfair advantages that Majin Vegeta has. So basically they were completely even when they're in this battle, the only difference being that Goku arguably should have more fighting knowledge with his mentors. He has instant transmission and he should have an advantage over Vegeta, yet Vegeta arguably has the upper hand. And in fact, some people think Vegeta is actually stronger than Goku in that battle, yet he's not. They're actually equal. They're actually stated to be equals numerous times. Yet Vegeta is arguably beating Goku, who should just have more advantages than him. Now, Goku was holding back due to this, and this is
holding back as in not using Super Saiyan 3.
Not needing to realize that Goku, even if he has all these powers, he's not the one who can save the day by himself. And basically, Vegeta was still trying to follow only in Goku's footsteps. Even when he fights Majin Buu after the battle, you see him mimicking Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, you see him mimicking Goku's actions, you see him trying to do everything to basically be the main character, and he's not trying to explore his own power. So narratively speaking, he can never be like the top guy. So yes, Goku still had Super Saiyan 3, but when it came to their actual fight, Super Saiyan 2 versus Super Saiyan 2, you know, the fair fight, Vegeta was kind of winning low-key. Now, the fight never concluded, Vegeta just catches him off guard, but even then, they then again sort of get into it after.
Well, the thing that's interesting about that is that when it comes to that fight between Goku and Vegeta in the Buu saga, is that I think that Vegeta, like I think even he himself acknowledged that if they were to fight, that I think he acknowledged that Goku still was ahead of him in terms of power. That's why he needed to do the whole, Majin Vegeta thing. Now, he did also bring up that Goku kind of had his own, like, unfair advantage with, being dead. And I think they kind of confirmed that, when you're in this like corporeal body, after you die, excuse me. All right, sorry about that again. Don't worry, any pauses I'll just edit out. But where was I? Oh yeah, when you have this corporeal body that you're given when after you die, you do have a bit of an advantage. Like you don't have to worry about energy or ki as much as you used to when you're alive. Like Goku even brings up that it was easier using Super Saiyan 3 when he was dead than when he was alive, because it doesn't put that much of a strain on your body. So Goku did have a bit of an advantage, and Vegeta also got an advantage with the whole, Majin thing. So both of them did get an advantage, and yet, despite that, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta against Super Saiyan 2 Goku, he even brought up like Vegeta was technically kind of winning. So again, it is curious to wonder like what would happen if it was like base against base. For me personally, I feel like maybe Goku would have won. For me personally, I feel like Goku would have won if it was, alive Goku against alive Vegeta. And let's say he doesn't use Super Saiyan 3 because, he even acknowledged that he can't really stay in the form for too long, at least at this point in time in the series. Excuse me. So I still feel like Goku would win, because at that point in the fight against Cell, during the Cell games, like even Vegeta acknowledged that he had already gone far beyond him in terms of power, even after Vegeta had a second day of training in the hyperbolic time chamber. He still went to the Cell games, saw Goku fight, and he still realized that I'm still not close to this guy in terms of power. Like he's still way ahead of me. I feel like if you add 7 years of training to that, then I think Goku would still be ahead of him. At least that's how I see it. If you guys disagree with me, that's fine. But let's go ahead and continue.
The Dragon Ball Super Battle of Gods arc, and in this arc, basically, we see in Fukatsu no F, or even the Universe 6 training arcs, that basically Vegeta, despite, not having any God ritual amps or any BS like that, he basically reaches Goku's God level in about 6 months of training with no help. He does it all by himself. He reaches the same exact level as Goku. However, one thing I'll say for Goku here is that Goku seems to be getting the hang more of his creative techniques, the things he can employ in battle, and in Super, his fighting style really does evolve to the point where Goku is using instant transmission, he's using his creativity, he's using his spirit and his flow, and he's using feints and things like this, whereas Vegeta is overall still more of a stiff and very serious and calculated fighter.
His fighting style is a lot more direct as opposed to Goku.
Manga, you can see, despite them being very definitely equals, there's definitely no difference in their strength for the most part that's ever noted. They train for 3 years versus each other, and they never state any of them are superior. Despite this, we see when they do fight, Goku has the upper hand, and Vegeta has to transform not to get caught lacking and get decked by Goku. And Goku literally mocks Vegeta. Well, he doesn't mock Vegeta, but he basically talks to him. He's like, hey, Vegeta, why'd you transform? We're supposed to
Well, again, sorry, as I was saying, because I don't want to talk over the video, at least, well, not too much. But what's interesting about this is that, Super does go into like more of their different fighting styles, where you have Goku who's more willing to use, you know, creative ways to fight his opponents, you know, like he said, using feints, using tricks. And Vegeta has always been a bit more direct. Now that doesn't mean that Vegeta doesn't fight smart. No, he does. Like, he is a smart fighter. But I feel like Goku is, and I think this mostly has to do with, you know, who they are, just, you know, personality wise. I feel like Vegeta just prefers the more direct approach while still fighting smart. You know, he doesn't forget to do that, which is one thing that I do like about Vegeta's character. And whereas Goku is more willing to, you know, use ways to like trick his opponents in order to gain the advantage. And I've always just kind of liked about how they differentiated, you know, the fighting styles between the two is one thing that I do like. And one thing I will give Super credit for, there's a lot of things I don't like about Super, but there are some things it does do well.
Transform, like that's cheating, dude. Like, why'd you do that? So Vegeta honestly did lose this third fight when it came to Dragon Ball Super. Although I will admit,
Excuse me
even
again, sorry,
then,
guys.
it's sort of like Goku does sort of still have, you know, the advantage for a lot of reasons I'm going to get into here. But yeah, we'll get into that. A lot of their fights tend to be off-screen, however, such as the 3-year time skip when they were in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber for the Universe 6 arc. Now, it wasn't a 3-year time skip, but they technically had a 3-year time skip because they were in the chamber for 3 years, if that makes sense. And even after the Tournament of Power in the anime, they are shown fighting at the end, but we never see the results of it. Same thing starts off with the beginning of the Broly movie. They have fights. We never see the results. However, one thing that should be noted is that in Dragon Ball Superhero, it seems like Goku mops Vegeta in all of these fights, like pretty concretely. So Goku is basically always mopping him, and there's no reason really he shouldn't, honestly. Like,
I might have to be careful here because this footage hasn't been officially released, and I hear that they've been kind of going around like taking down videos that have this footage, so I might have to be careful. I mean, the filter should help keep me safe, but just in case, I might pause every now and then just to, you know, make sure that it's 100%, you know, fair use and transformative. So I know I haven't done this in a while, and the only reason why I stopped is because a lot of you guys kept bringing up how, you know, it's kind of annoying, and I do agree with you, but I feel like I might have to just in case here.
throughout Super, in most of,
Or who knows, maybe by the time you guys see this video, it will have been released on, you know, on Blu-ray, and it'll be more safer to use. Okay, well, it's gone. There we go.
yeah, Vegeta does get a lot of power-ups. He's trying to find himself, but Goku's the main one who evolves as a fighter compared to Vegeta throughout all of this. Whereas, you know, Goku's learning about autonomous movement, ultra instinct, you know, that insane fighting spirit that amplifies his ability to dodge, react, and move. Vegeta is just sort of like enhancing his power level more and learning about his true pride and all of that. For the most part, up to the Tournament of Power, it definitely is the Goku show. So I'm not surprised at all by Superhero Vegeta being like, yeah, Goku has always mocked me. But then again, by the time Superhero does come around and they're fighting in base form,
well, the thing that's interesting about this, Vegeta finally saying he beat Goku, playing he never did before in any training, I don't know. I don't know if I would really take this seriously. I mean, I feel like it kind of feels like this was mostly done just for the fans, like a little tongue-in-cheek thing, you know, just something to the fans for you know, the ones who have always wanted to say, yeah, I finally beat Goku. And the fact that they purposefully didn't show us the fight, and then they cut to Broly and I think his name was Lemo, and you see them crying, talk about how, oh my god, this fight was amazing. I feel like this was something that shouldn't be taken all that seriously, because it does feel like it was done, you know, in tongue-in-cheek, to where it's like, yeah, we know this is something fans have always wanted to see, but guess what, we're not going to show you. And even better, we're not going to show you the fight, but we're not going to show you the fight where Vegeta actually won against Goku. I feel like that was all done just in like, you know, it was done in a way to troll the audience. At least that's kind of how I saw it. So I don't know if I would personally take this statement all too seriously. At least for me, anyway.
Vegeta does seem to win. So even though 3 out of the 4 fights we have kind of seen, unless I'm missing one, hope not, Vegeta seems to be on the upper hand. So it's kind of weird that Goku always seems to be noted as stronger, but whenever we do see them go at it, Vegeta seems to be the winner every single time. But we then learn after the Tournament of Power, when it comes to the Moro arc, that Goku not only has these unfair advantages because of all his mentors. So the reason Goku gets Ultra Instinct to form beyond, Kaioken times 20 or Evolution shown in the Tournament of Power is because his mentors throughout growing up, that nurture I was talking about earlier or hinted at, is sort of starting to evolve and coalesce finally, and it's starting to click in Goku's head. Whereas Goku is mainly training with these gods and sort of getting power-ups by training with strong people, the lessons they were teaching him never really seemed to fully click with him. And then when he finally gets to the Tournament of Power and he has to learn, all the lessons really start to flow into him. And that's why he's able to unlock Ultra Instinct, whether it be Korin teaching him how to move, Popo teaching him how to move, Master Roshi even teaches him how to move, even King Kai and Kami teach him how to move. Everyone's teaching Goku about this spiritual lesson and how to fight. And even on Yardrat, they teach Goku about his inner self and his inner spirit, which allows him to use his power level more efficiently than you would be normally. So not only is Vegeta overall an extremely stiff person to begin with that can't use his actual power very well, Goku, on top of already being able to use his power pretty well, then gets Yardrat training, which amps it even further. And so when you see in the Android arc that Vegeta surpasses Super Saiyan Goku, even though he just had this Yardrat training, you can start to see why that's more impressive and why Vegeta still has people's respect, even though Goku is always a lot stronger than him. So one thing I like about the Moro arc is that it's like, hey,
he said it himself. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people really like Vegeta is because, with Goku, obviously Goku is, incredibly talented and has a lot of this, insane potential. And no one can ever deny that. But I feel like with Vegeta, the fact that he is able to surpass someone like Goku, who not only has this insane talent for fighting, but also was trained by all these mentors and, teaching him these different ways of fighting, which just makes him an even more dangerous, opponent. The fact that he is continuously able to surpass him just using his own sheer determination and willpower, I think that that's something that a lot of people really, really like about Vegeta and why he has so many fans. I think that that's something that a lot of people really respect. Someone who is able to get to where they want to be just through sheer effort alone. I think that's something that not only do people respect, it's something that they can relate to. And it's why I think that, again, Vegeta has so many fans and why there are so many people who like him. And I think there's more, I might be wrong here, but I do feel like there's more Vegeta fans than there are Goku fans. That's just me. I could be wrong, but
one reason Goku has all of these advantages and is learning Ultra Instinct is because he had all these people teaching him stuff. And yeah, Vegeta can get stronger, he's a Saiyan, but when is someone gonna teach him a thing or two that's different, or teach him how to use these different forms, or let loose like Goku does to fight better? And that's what the Moro arc did for him. So by the time, Miras trained Goku, a literal angel trained Goku, and Vegeta just did training that Goku did back on Namek, Vegeta is arguably stronger than the training that the angel gave Goku. So Goku gets this Ultra Instinct Omen God Technique power up way beyond the power of Blue, and then here comes Vegeta with Yardrat training, finally learning how to use his power level properly, and he's arguably just completely shattering and outdoing Omen Goku. So, well, you can sort of see how Goku's had a very unfair advantage throughout most of the series. So even though Vegeta has arguably more potential, he's never had it necessarily unlocked like Goku did for the most part. But we do see eventually when Vegeta does get those same things, he's easily able to catch up to Goku. And a perfect example of that as well, that Goku did have his potential unlocked and Vegeta didn't, is that Vegeta, even though he was completely inferior to Goku, even base to base in the Buu Saga, the second Vegeta had his potential unlocked by Babidi, and yes, he had his potential actually unleashed by Babidi, even after he came back from the dead, and this is stated in the guidebooks, him and Goku are just equals. In base to base, they're equals now. And this is a perfect example of how when Vegeta gets the same treatment as Goku, he's able to do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And now we
Hold on.
see, after all of these
Gotta-
lessons, and now he's finally, you know, actually taking advice.
Sorry guys,
from other
again, you
people,
got to make sure I don't get hit for the music. This should be fine.
such as the God of Destruction. He's actually training with a unique mentor that Goku's not really. So Goku's never really had these hardcore Hakai or God of Destruction lessons from Beerus, and Vegeta finally has that over him, and now you can kind of see Vegeta really catches up to Goku, and that's where we get Ultra Instinct Goku versus Ultra Ego Vegeta, which is sort of the title of this video. Now, I know it kind of took me a while to get to this point, but I felt like
No, it's okay. You had to set everything
that
up.
long, like almost 15-minute introduction is actually necessary for me to sort of exaggerate what I mean with this battle here. So this will be the Granola arc, and so one thing we do know about Ultra Instinct Goku, especially in the manga and the anime, is that they're completely different for the most part. Well, they're not totally completely different, but in the anime, Ultra Instinct seems to be sort of this actual instinct-bound power-up where Goku, basically, the more obsessed or the more into the fight he can get, and the more just completely enwrapped in the fires and the heats of battle he can get, the strongest instinct becomes, and the strongest Ultra Instinct becomes. Whereas in the manga, it seems to be more about tranquility, you know, self-peace, and things like that, and controlling himself. And then eventually, with his true Ultra Instinct, he completely surpasses that concept by kind of like reaching more into what the anime was going for. And I also wanted to get into that later, but basically, when it comes to Ultra Ego Vegeta versus this Ultra Instinct Goku, they're both sort of in this pre-final instinct stage. So yes, true Ultra Instinct Goku is stronger than Vegeta, but you also need to remember that Vegeta truly hasn't found his own instinct form either. Even though he has this God of Destruction power-up, this Ultra Ego power-up, you have to know that it's very similar to the white-haired form of Goku in the sense that Vegeta's like, this isn't really me. So yeah, I got this power up, but like I'm not really that guy. Like I can't use this power to the utmost, just like Goku can't with his white-haired form, because yeah, I mean it's kind of who they are, but not really.
Not really, no.
Vegeta also probably will get like a true Ultra Ego form, just like Goku got a true Ultra Instinct form. So I don't really want to compare those. I want to compare more the white-haired form to the purple-haired form.
It's interesting because you know, this is something that I think a lot of people have been debating for a while, and you know, whether or not this is actually a good thing or a bad thing. You know, because for a long time we've been led to believe that the silver-haired form is like the true version of Ultra Instinct, and yet now we get to the Granola arc and we're told that apparently no, like the real version of Ultra Instinct that Goku needs to use is, well, as we saw, like true Ultra Instinct as it's called. And it does get a little bit confusing after a while, and it makes you wonder, like, okay. And here's the thing, I think that we know for a fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think even Totaro admitted in an interview that you know, they're not like planning things out necessarily. Like they're writing these arcs as they're writing them. Like what I mean by that is they're not thinking about the Granola arc as they were writing the Moro arc. You know what I mean? Like they were writing the Moro arc, and then once they were getting to the end, that's when they planned out the Granola, the Survivor arc, and that's when they started writing. Like they're writing these arcs out as they are happening. Like they don't plan things out ahead of time. So I think that when it comes to the Moro arc, when they gave Goku like Mastered Ultra Instinct and he can go in and out of it at will, like, you know, it's not like before where it only shows up in, you know, at certain points in time. I feel like they themselves even realize that, oh yeah, Goku's kind of he's kind of strong now, and he kind of needs a new, you know, goal to hit. And that's when they got into the Granola arc and they said, oh well, technically there's different levels of Ultra Instinct. You know, you're at the base level, the angels are at a different level, a more advanced level of Ultra Instinct, and the Grand Priest, the Daishinkai, I think is he's called, is in an even more advanced form of Ultra Instinct than that. And it's like, it just feels like they're creating this just to give Goku something to strive towards. And it would be nice if they just plan things out ahead of time. And I feel like it causes fans to be a bit confused, because it's like, wait, I thought the silver-haired was the real version of Ultra Instinct, but now you're telling me that no, like there's true Ultra Instinct, and then there's the Ultra Instinct of the angels, and then the Grand Priest. And it's like, is there ever going to be a limit? Like, will Goku ever hit a limit to how strong he can get? And honestly, right now, it just feels like the answer is no, because like Goku and Vegeta need to find ways to get stronger because they plan to introduce stronger enemies over and over and over again, and they need to have Goku and Vegeta get stronger to be able to face up against those enemies. And it just feels like it's gonna keep going forever. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'll throw the question to you guys. Like, how do you feel about the whole True Ultra Instinct thing? Because I don't know. For me, it just feels like, again, I get what they were going for here in the series. Like, you know, the silver-haired UI is not necessarily their true selves or whatever, like what Seth brought up here. But I don't know. I feel like they should stop, because I don't want any more like versions of Ultra Instinct or versions of Ultra Ego or whatever. Just have them have this, and just have them, you know, make it stronger or refine it in terms of Ultra Instinct, kind of like what they did with Super Saiyan in the Artificial Humans arc, where instead of like technically getting like a new level of Super Saiyan, they, you know, just train and make the version that they already have stronger, like what Goku did, where he chose to master Super Saiyan along with Gohan, instead of, like, you know, doing the whole Ascended Saiyan thing. I don't know, that's just me. Let's continue.
Another thing about True Ultra Instinct as well is that True Ultra Instinct, while yes, it does apply to the Black Omen form, and that's what Goku could mainly use it with, I think one thing you guys might find interesting is that the True Ultra Instinct power-up also will apply to the white-haired form eventually. And the anime, once again, does a better job of showing this than anything else. And in fact, I was going to make a whole video about this, but I'll get into that at the end about True Ultra Instinct White form. But once again, this is just how they do against Granola. By the time we finally get to Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta, it sort of starts out with Ultra Instinct Goku confronting Gas or whatever, and it turns out to just be a clone in which Goku just absolutely dominates. But then the real Gas is like, yeah, that was a Naruto Shadow clone, and I know that the longer you're in your form, the less accurate you are, and then he one-shots it. And then Vegeta has to step in and fight a much stronger Granola. And then he goes Ultra Ego and pushes Granola to unlock his double Mangekyo Sharingan, basically, to become the strongest in the universe. And then it's described that Ultra Ego Vegeta is the most dangerous man in the universe and surpasses Granola.
That's one thing that did kind of piss me off about the arc, is that with Granola, like, his character went nowhere. It's like, what was even the point of him at the end of the day? Like, he didn't get revenge against the Heaters for what they did. He didn't turn out to be the strongest in the universe, as was kind of, you know, advertised about this whole arc. Like, we were supposed to see the birth of the strongest warrior in the universe. We didn't see it. The arc ended with them saying, well, I don't know, maybe Frieza's the strongest, or maybe it's someone else, somewhere else in this universe the strongest was born. And it's like, and the whole eye thing, like, I thought that maybe like they were going somewhere with it, but really it went nowhere. And it's just so disappointing. I'm not gonna go any further, because I feel like I am definitely gonna go into a rant if I start talking about this.
Which is a statement that Goku did not have. So you would think, oh well, Vegeta and Ultra Ego is definitely stronger than Ultra Instinct at this moment, right? But as you actually read the arc, you start to notice, well, why do Goku and Vegeta seem kind of equal? You know, give or take. Like, when they fight together versus Gas and so on, they don't seem like one's necessarily doing way better than the other. So what's happening here? And there's actually a lot of statements and guides and so on, but in interviews, Toyotaro says Vegeta has seemed to have caught up to Goku when he gets Ultra Ego, so he's implying, you know, Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct are equivocal. And then he says, but, you know, that's not exactly the case. Whereas Uchida, the editor for Dragon Ball Super, says, you know, the whole point of Ultra Ego is for Vegeta to get a form that was on par with Ultra Instinct, basically, so that, you know, Vegeta will be relevant or whatever. And, you know, isn't it cool that Goku and Vegeta are equals? So, you know, the editor says they're equals, but Toyotaro says, oh, it looks like Vegeta caught up to him, but there's a catch. So the catch is obviously that Ultra Ego seems to be more of a rival for this mastered Ultra Instinct form that's not at full power. And what I mean by that is, to use the silver-haired or perfect Ultra Instinct form, or even true Ultra Instinct, It requires a lot of mental boundaries and that Goku does not have full control over during this arc. So you might be like, hey Seth, why was Ultra Instinct in the Moro arc so insanely Giga Chad, and then in the Granola arc it seems kind of weird, and like it has like a shorter time frame than like Kaioken even almost. It seems kind of weird, right? Well,
Yeah,
the point
it's
of it is that Goku's mindset doesn't allow him to just use the full Ultra Instinct all the time, even though he has the training. And on top of that, it seems that the Mastered Ultra Instinct form also has a Susanoo that Goku can kind of just whip out. So it seems as though Ultra Ego seems to be compared to this nerfed white-haired form, if anything. And the nerfed white-haired form still is very powerful. I mean, it dominated Gas when it was at full power. It just wasn't able to retain it. And I'd honestly say that this nerfed white-haired form would probably lose to Ultra Ego just due to like the time limits and the fact that Ultra Ego is like relative in power at least, so it's just relative in power and lasts longer. But I'm also going to get into further detail why Vegeta isn't fully out of the race just yet, even with that information. So by the end of it all, it does look like Ultra Ego, even if you want to say it's somehow initially weaker than Ultra Instinct, there is a lot more evidence that it would probably win in a fight. And this is actually further displayed as well when Gas appears. Vegeta and Goku are fighting Gas. Vegeta's like, hey dude, like, my Ultra Ego's evolving still, like, I'm getting stronger, and you're like the same guy, basically. You know, it's kind of weird that I'm evolving my form more than you. Isn't this your thing? Like, so Ultra Ego Vegeta is kind of like, why am I surpassing Goku? Why am I evolving more than Goku? And then Goku's like, I need to look deep. I need to find something else. And then he gets the true Ultra Instinct. So in terms of the white-haired form versus the purple-haired form, it does seem like Ultra Ego would have the upper hand if they did fight. However, this is what I wanted to bring up that I foreshadowed a bit earlier, is that the white-haired form will still probably be relevant. And it's not just the white-haired form versus the purple-haired form, but they're basically their mindset.
maybe it'll be
or
a
their
case where it
perspective
depends on what
their own
Goku needs to
instinct or their own
use.
selves that kind of empowers these forms. So even though True Ultra Instinct is technically a form, even with the black hair, I do, and this is just my hypothesis, that it will apply to the white-haired form as well. And this is actually shown in the Gas fight where you see Goku go into the white-haired form, and then you see basically that Susanoo appear, and then he goes to help out against Gas. And I think that's True Ultra Instinct merging with the white-haired form, which is still kind of an anomaly in itself. Like, what does a Susanoo have to do with automated movement? There's something else we're not getting. But this is shown in the Tournament of Power as well. Basically, in the Tournament of Power,
My personal theory is that maybe it's just something they wanted to include because it looks cool. I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see. But for now, I think they just wanted to include something to, you know, wow the audience. Like, oh my God, look what Goku can do. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, that's just my hypothesis. I could be wrong.
despite the white-haired form being this tranquil form, this self-movement form, we see in the anime that Goku actually utilizes basically true Ultra Instinct or anger or his emotions with the white-haired form. And even though Jiren unlocks this hidden power and arguably gets amped, even though he might be a little bit restricted due to his mentality, Jiren might actually be nerfed in this fight, as crazy as that sounds, which might make him more relevant in the future, but that's a side point. But basically, Goku, despite getting kind of beat up by hidden power Jiren, once he controls his emotions and he uses his emotions as a power-up, he bullies the piss out of Jiren, which is sort of foreshadowing this true Ultra Instinct. And I wouldn't be surprised if what Goku did against Moro, where he used the Susanoo, was also true Ultra Instinct mixed with the Mastered Ultra Instinct form of the white-haired form. So yes, if Goku was able to use his true Ultra Instinct, like emotional power-ups versus Vegeta Ego with his white-haired form, the white-haired form would win. But I think normally, like the imperfect version, Vegeta would probably win. And once again, I will say this again, Vegeta probably will get his own true Ultra Ego form as well. I mean, like, get real. That's literally the correlation or the similarities between their forms.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually. I mean,
so with that out of the way, I would say
that's been kind of the constant with Dragon Ball Super, is that eventually Goku and Vegeta are gonna get new forms because, I don't know, like marketing. You know, they get sell toys, they get sell the DLCs for the games, whether it's Xenoverse 2 or I don't know if Xenoverse 3 is gonna happen, but maybe there's gonna be another game sometime in the future. Like, I don't know, maybe this time it'll be Dragon Ball Super Kakarot, and it'll include the Dragon Ball Super story. I don't know. I feel like they'll always do this because like Shueisha and Toei know this is good marketing. So
say that it does seem like Vegeta has a more impressive track record versus them, but I will say, you know, Goku beating up Vegeta apparently for 3 years straight in the time chamber probably means that Goku's win record is probably a bit higher. We just haven't seen it. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I actually decided to make this video because I was leading up to an Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego or Final True Ultra Vegito video, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about Vegeta versus Goku first before I did that, because I really want to highlight the differences between Vegito versus Goku and Vegeta, and just, even though I want to go over how crazy powerful he probably is, I also want to go over the mindset and the differences that actually makes him an Ultra Warrior, which is what he's called in all the guidebooks. So look forward to that video, and other than that, thank you for watching. Until next time.
All right, so that's the video, and all right, so that's the video. Okay, yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting because, you know, there's a lot of things that you needed to take into consideration when it comes to this whole thing, especially the whole, you know, True Ultra Instinct and like Ultra Ego Vegito, and not Vegito, Vegeta, you know, asking like who's the strongest between the two. I don't know, like I feel like for now maybe you could say that True UI is stronger, and I feel like when it comes to the whole True Ultra Instinct and, you know, MUI, Silver Haired UI, I feel like it might end up getting to a point of where it just depends on the situation. I feel like in that situation Goku needed True Ultra Instinct, because like in order to truly utilize UI you have to completely like clear your mind. You can't like rely on your emotions to fight like you used to. You have to truly 100% clear your mind and focus solely on the fight in order to utilize Ultra Instinct, at least from what I can remember. And I feel like at that point Goku couldn't really do that, so he had to find a good blend between Ultra Instinct and utilizing his emotions, which is to me kind of weird because those two things are supposed to be not really working well together. But I don't know, it's just, I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm not even gonna fight it. It's like, all right, whatever at this point. I think I even said it in my video where I talked about the ending of the Granola arc. I'm at a point where it's like, all right, whatever you guys do, it is what it is. I'm not even gonna try to argue. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to say because, like, yeah, we could make a conclusion now, but remember the story's not done, and we'll eventually get to a point where I think a lot of us are probably just gonna give up on trying to, you know, settle this debate as to who's the strongest between the two. I feel like it's always just gonna depend on the story. It just depends on what Toriyama or Toyotaro want to do at the moment, so it is what it is. But for now, I'm gonna throw the question to you guys. What do you guys think about this whole debate? Like, who do you think is the strongest now? Is it Goku or Vegeta? Or are you like me where you're not even gonna try to, you know, try to come up with an answer as to who might win, because it consistently changes? So for now you're like, whatever happens, it happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and while you're here guys, maybe consider leaving a like, sharing this video out there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, make sure to click the bell for notifications, and if you have any recommendations you want me to watch, let me know about them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I'll catch you guys for my next reaction. Bye for now.